I'm Alan Kenny, Editorial Director with REIT.com, and we're in Atlanta for REITWorld 2014, NAREIT's annual convention at the Marriott Marquis Hotel. Joining me is Shah, CEO of Hersha Hospitality Trust. So Jay, looking at the demand drivers in the lodging sector at the moment, what do you see kind of driving demand, and how are you looking to leverage that?
I think, Alan, demand is being driven by a couple of different factors. I think one of the major factors is really the demographic shift that we're undergoing today. As we see more and more millennials entering the workforce, we're finding that travel has become an area that they are very much migrating towards. I think we often hear the phrase that the millennial generation is more interested in collecting experiences than they are in collecting stuff. And travel is one of those experiences. I think in addition to that, we're also seeing great global trends where more people are entering the middle class on a daily basis. And one of the great characteristics of the middle class is that as soon as they have things at home settled and have all their basic needs looked after, they're ready to move and travel. In addition to that, one of the big secular trends that's underway is urbanization. And our portfolio is focused in the major gateway markets in the United States. Our markets, when you combine their gross municipal product, their economic output, it totals close to 25% of the country's GDP. And so as we continue to see concentration in urban centers for work, living, and play, I think we're going to continue to be able to leverage the urbanization trend at our hotels, at our portfolio.
And one key theme for your company has been transforming the portfolio. How do you feel like you've progressed in that sense?
I think we've made some great headway. A lot of the transformative work is now in the rearview mirror. And that was hard work, but I think it was very worthwhile for the portfolio. Across the last 2 years, we've sold more than 42 hotels, close to $450 million worth of assets we've sold. They were assets that were more mature and had more limited growth profiles than our core urban portfolio that has a much higher growth profile. Selling those hotels gave us availability of proceeds that we've reinvested in 13 new hotels in our core markets that are actually driving the average EBITDA growth rate of the portfolio up. And so very accretive to our EBITDA growth numbers, very accretive to our NAV growth numbers. And so we feel very, very comfortable with the transformation that we've gone through across the last couple of years, and are really looking forward to leveraging some of the embedded growth that that's created.
And with the rise in the sharing economy, we're hearing about Airbnb or other online home rental services. How do you see that affecting the lodging sector and your company?
My view on Airbnb is relatively straightforward. I think innovation and technology are very important to our sector. I think they drive great change, and I think they make every stakeholder in the industry do better. And so I think Airbnb's technology is very interesting, and I think it creates a great transparency and distribution channel for some of these homeowners and apartment holders. My biggest concern with Airbnb, and I think that this is what I remain focused on, is that it's important that they be on a level playing field and that they're providing accommodations with the same level of care and compliance that hotels do as a public accommodation. And so what I'm talking about is I think a lot of Airbnb, and recently there was in New York there was a ruling handed down that most Airbnb offerings are actually illegal. Close to 70 to 80% of them are illegal. And what the ruling is referring to is the fact that a lot of these offerings are not compliant with zoning laws. They're not compliant with life safety conventions, ordinances, and laws in the area. There's questions about security, and there's real questions around, are they paying taxes as they should as an overnight transient lodging provider. I think as we level the playing field across the coming years, it'll be interesting to see if Airbnb is playing as significant a role in the lodging sector as it is today, or taking up as much conversation as it is today. But if those areas are resolved and there are offerings on Airbnb that are competitive with hotels, and I think we have to accept that, and we have to take a look at ourselves, our companies, our industry, and see what we need to do in order to remain even more competitive going forward.
Really interesting stuff, Jay. Thanks so
Great,
much.
thanks, Al.
And for more on this and other REIT news and analysis, be sure to visit REIT.com.